interesting time. I've been asked by so many people, what can I be doing to boost my immune system and to ultimately just try to stay healthy during this time? My name is Dr. Kirsten Lauritsen. I'm a chiropractor and a functional medicine practitioner in Oregon State, and one of the things that I am asked every day right now is, what can I be doing to stay healthier? I think that we're getting a lot of different types of information at us, and I think that a lot of it is just designed to create a lot of fear, and it's not helping a lot of people. In fact, there's a lot of people who are avoiding talking about what's going on right now just because it's not fun and it's causing a lot of worry and anxiety. And right now, our world is really hurting. There's a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of people who have lost their jobs, and a lot of people who are just trying to get through day to day and not really sure what's going to happen over the next few months. So today I want to talk to you about some very simple tips that you can use to build your resiliency to getting sick and also to getting a disease, and ways that you can just ultimately boost your immune system. So one of the things that you can do is work on nutrition. The reason why I've got my master's in human nutrition and functional medicine is because I recognize that nutrition is a huge foundation to just overall health, and it's also a huge part of keeping our body healthy. So one of the biggest tips that I can give as far as the immune system goes is just trying to eat more fruits and vegetables overall, and making sure you're eating enough protein. There's so many people who eat a decent amount of protein, but there's also, especially as we age, we tend to see a pattern of people starting to not eat as much protein. So if that's you, I want you to make sure that you're getting at least, I want you to take your weight in pounds, and then I want you to divide it by 2.2, and then I want you to be getting 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. So that pound number divided by 2.2 is your kilogram weight. I want you to be getting 1 gram of protein per that number, okay? So let's say you weigh around 140 pounds. It's gonna be around 70-ish kilograms in that range. So what I want you to do is make sure you're getting 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. So that's about 70 grams. A general chicken breast is around 15 to 20 kilograms. So, you know, if you have a couple eggs in the morning, you have a chicken breast at lunch, and then maybe like a steak at dinner or a piece of fish at dinner, you're probably gonna get close to that. So, plus, if you're eating any other veggies or colorful foods, then you'll probably getting some protein from there as well. So those are some great ways to start as far as nutrition goes for boosting your immune system. The other things that you can do as well is make sure that you're drinking enough water and getting enough exercise. I know that this is talked about a lot, but there are a few reasons why it's so important. Number one, with exercise, you're probably going to sweat. And sweat helps to remove toxins from the body. It also, exercise helps to boost your immune system because it gets your heart pumping, it gets your blood moving, and it can help just getting you feeling better. Also, it helps to reduce the impact of stress on the body. And so exercise is one of the best things you can do. Water also, staying hydrated is a very key part of keeping your immune system healthy. Okay. You've probably heard all of those before. So let's talk a little bit more about some other ways that maybe you haven't heard. Vitamin C, vitamin D are very, very key for the body and for the immune system. I talk about these two vitamins all the time. Vitamin D is something that is imperative for the immune system, and people don't often know that. They think that vitamin D is really good for bones and we need it for skin health and all that jazz, but it's actually, it does play a very key part in how the body deals with illnesses, and it also plays a key role in how we fight respiratory infections. So you might want to consider talking to your doctor about maybe taking some vitamin D or some vitamin C and getting in touch with them to see if that might be a good option for you. Of course, with any recommendations, you always want to make sure that you speak with your physician, because sometimes if you take certain supplements, they can interact with medications, and sometimes certain supplements can interact with other supplements, and so really important that you talk with your physician about that. Okay, what are some other ways that we can affect and have a significant impact on our immune system? Well, you might be surprised, but it actually has to do with your gut. So your digestive system and the microbiome, the bacteria that's in your gut, has a significant impact on the lining of the GI tract, on inflammation, and ultimately the immune system. So 60 to 70% of your immune system is at your GI tract. It's called the gut-associated lymph tissue. And what that means is that if we have inflammation at the GI tract, and if that sticks around for a very, very long time, that can trigger a lot of different things to happen with the immune system and almost create this environment where it overworks. So I want you to think about, are there different ways that maybe your GI system isn't really functioning as well as it could? Do you get bloated? Do you have heartburn? Maybe you have constipation or a lot of loose stools. Those are some very common symptoms that patients have that can really be signs that there's something just not quite right in the gut. Also, a lot of my patients were told by somebody or they read online that they should be taking probiotics. And by all means, probiotics can help to reduce inflammation in the GI tract, and that's awesome. However, a lot of the things that can be missing is things like prebiotics, for example, so prebiotics are food for good bacteria. Think about it this way. If you've led up to this point and you've been eating foods that are maybe high in processed foods or high in kind of gnarly fats, maybe foods that are really refined carbohydrates and high in sugar, they are going to feed what we would call maybe bad bacteria in the GI tract. And those can ultimately lead to a lot more inflammation, things like biofilms that ultimately can lead to a lot of different other symptoms in the GI tract and in the rest of the body. But good food, like lots of veggies, high fiber foods, lots of fruits, and specific foods like maybe even yogurt, specifically unsweetened would be ideal, but foods that are high in bacteria, also foods like Jerusalem artichoke, can all be prebiotic foods. And ultimately what you want to do is feed the good bacteria and make sure that the environment there is where the probiotics that you're taking actually want to stay. Think about it this way. If you've been taking a probiotic and felt like you still have the digestive upset, you still have those symptoms and it didn't really seem to make it any better, or if you stop taking the probiotic and all those digestive system issues come back, there's probably something else going on underneath the surface that you need to figure out. So I hope that those tips were helpful, and if you have any questions on the immune system and different ways that you can build resilience to disease, I would love to answer that. I also want to answer the question of, what does that mean to build resilience? Well, a lot of patients come into my office and they ask me, how come you don't seem to get the common cold or flu, and why don't you really seem to get sick all that often? Well, I like to show them this graph, okay? So I want you to picture, your X and your Y axis, right? And I want you to consider this line, this threshold, right? There's a certain point where the body is able to handle quite a bit before it ends up sick or it ends up with disease. Now, there are some bugs that almost everybody's going to get because they're just so highly contagious. But what you can do is you can help your body by staying as healthy as possible and by building this resilience to getting sick, so that it takes so much more to really cross over that threshold and ultimately lead into disease or illness. So that's what I like to try and work with my patients on, is figuring out, how can we make your system so much healthier? How can we optimize how it functions so that you can feel better and ultimately not get sick all that often? I have a patient who, one of the biggest things that we did with her is she's training for the CrossFit Games, and she was getting sick and it was taking her out of training. And ultimately what we did was we worked on her, optimizing her nutrition. We worked on figuring out where her nutrient deficiencies were, and ultimately we fixed the health of her gut. And she noticed that over time she stopped getting the common cold and flu, so she wasn't consistently missing training, and it led to some really great results for her. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope that it answered some questions for you that maybe you've had over this time. And if you have any questions, please get in touch with me. You can leave a comment below, or you can find me at northwestfunctionalmedicine.com. I am so looking forward to seeing you and talking with you about your questions, and I hope that this was helpful. Thanks for watching.